What's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel here on YouTube. I know it has been quite some time now. I looked at my YouTube the other day and it said that it had been 45 days since my last video, so I was like, alright, it's time. I gotta keep posting for you guys because I know you want some comparisons of American and Swedish culture, and I've had a lot of refreshing perspectives right now because I'm actually filming this in America. I'm at my parents' house in the Portland area on a little bit of a workcation. You know, getting to see the family for the holidays and all those sorts of things, but also the startup that I'm working for in Stockholm is expanding to the US, so there's been lots of meetings and work to do over here. So it's been a little bit of combination to see family, work, all those things. And coming back to America this time, it's been absolutely crazy because this was the first time coming back to America that I've been in Sweden for so long that I almost felt more Swedish than American. And it took me some time to actually adjust to my own culture. Like when somebody approached me at the airport in New York, and I was like, oh, what does this person want from me? I'm not used to like strangers coming up to me and talking to me. And it's because I was sitting down eating a hamburger and he asked me if the burger was good because they were thinking about eating there. I was like, wow, this is interesting to get used to again, but that just goes to show how open Americans are. When I've been away for so long and then just coming back to that, it was even a shock for me. But there's so many things that I've noticed. I could go on and on. I'll have to make a separate video about that because there's one thing that I want to talk about in this video. Even though Christmas has come and gone, I want to share this story because I think it says a lot about the Swedish mentality and the Swedish culture, because Swedes, they're really known for kind of having a set way of doing things. They really like organization and structure and all those things. And actually, they have this thing called a Julbord, which means Christmas table. And there's a really traditional way of doing it. I didn't really know that, being the American, because usually I would just eat at people's houses and just eat whatever I want. But I was lucky enough to go to two Julbords, two Christmas dinners this year, one through work at Oaxen, a really fancy, it was a 2 Michelin star restaurant. I had never been to a Michelin star restaurant before, so getting to experience really fancy food there. Almost too fancy in a way. Like they had like caviar suspended in jello, and I'm like, just give me the meatballs, I'll be happy most of the time. But it was still really, really cool to experience that. Amazing wines and amazing company with my work. And then my friends also did a Christmas table at the Grand Hotel, which is known for being one of the fancier Christmas dinners in Stockholm. And I told my parents how much we spent at this dinner. We spent, I think, each of us over 1,300 crowns. That comes out to like $140 on this dinner. And my parents like, how the heck? They're like, we are like 50 years old and we've never in our lives paid $140 for a single dinner. So just think about that. This was crazy expensive. It was good. I think the dinner itself was like maybe $85, $90. And then the drinks, when you get the schnapps and the wine and all these things that the Swedish likes to do traditionally, that was all added in after. So it ended up being the most expensive dinner of my life. The quality was extremely good. But when it comes to Swedish holiday food, for pretty much every holiday in Sweden, they eat the exact same food. They eat like meatballs, the Baltic herring, which they call seal, you know, the lax, the salmon, which is usually cold. All these things, they'll have it at Christmas, they'll have it at midsummer, probably even Easter too. It's very the traditional foods. In America, we don't really have a traditional food that we eat at Christmas every year. I think the Christmas traditions in Sweden are really structured. Like everybody does the exact same thing. If you think about it, it's kind of strange actually to think about. Maybe that has to do with like the socialistic culture a little bit more, that people are all doing the same thing. Whereas in America, like we have something different for Christmas dinner every year. I think this year I was at my grandparents' place in the San Juan Islands and we had ravioli on Christmas Day. Might have been brisket, I don't know. In Sweden, they also celebrate Christmas on the 24th. Whereas in America, they celebrate it on the 25th. Normally on the 25th in Sweden, all of the young people go out to the clubs and do all that, whereas that's more of the family day in the US. But back to the Julbord, back to the craziness. This story started out, so personally, I really like the warm food. That is the traditional holiday food. I like meatballs. I like the potato dish that has the, what's it called? The anchovies, or there's some fish in the potato dish. I forget what it's called, Johansson's something. I always forget what that one's called, but it's really good. And then a lot of times I have different meats, and of course the Christmas ham. All of those things I absolutely love. I'm not the biggest fan of the herring. Sometimes I'll take a little bit just to try it and be nice, but it's not something that I'm going to go crazy over for the herring. When I went to the first Christmas table, there wasn't really as much structure. When I was with my colleagues, it was like, just go out, eat what you want, cool. Some people, they did it in an order. Some people say, okay, you got to start with the cold stuff first, blah, blah, blah. But it was kind of like teach your own, enjoy it, have a good time. We paid a lot of money for this, just enjoy it. So then I go out to the Grand Hotel one with my friends, and everybody, we waited for the waiter, he took our drink orders and everything, and everybody was sitting at the table. And then after we had our drinks and everything, everybody got up to go get food. And when we got to the food, we all had our plates, there was a line of like, literally like 40, 50 people in this line. It was like gonna be 10 minutes to get food. And I hadn't eaten all day because I was waiting for this. I was like, oh, this is gonna be an amazing dinner. And keep in mind, I'm not even a big fan of like herring and all these things. And the line was only for the cold stuff. So there's like all these people in line to get the food that I'm not even excited to eat. So there's like all these people waiting, all my friends are waiting in line, and then I look over and I see the warm stuff, and they had like steak and the ham and the meatballs and all the things that I was actually really excited to eat. There was no line for it. So I was like going in with the mindset of like, all right, so I can wait 20 minutes for the food that I don't even want to eat, or I can just go over here and get the food that I really love right away. So of course, from my perspective, being the American, like do it my own way, I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go get the meatballs right away. So I just put on, I had a different strategy to this. I was like, I'm just gonna try everything on my first course, and then I know what's good and come back and get more of it. But the traditional Swedish way of doing this Christmas dinner is you gotta start with the cold stuff first, the herring, the salmon, all these things, and then you progress. I think there's like 4 courses. They do like 2 cold ones, and then the warm one, and then they do dessert after. And I think I did 2 warm ones and 2 desserts. But because I didn't have to wait in line, I got back to the table before all my friends, and all my friends were like, what are you doing? Like they all had waited like 10, 15 minutes for the fish on their plate, and they're like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And everybody was like an uproar. Everybody was up in arms that I had taken the meatballs and stuff first. And I thought that was really funny, that Swedes are so peculiar about doing things a certain way. Maybe that wasn't my finest moment of trying to blend into Swedish culture, but it made me reflect on some of the differences between America and Sweden, and how I think Americans are more likely to stand out and do things their own way and express that individuality. And in my head, I was like, why would I wait all this time for the food that I don't even want? So I thought that was kind of a funny story. It illustrates a lot about Swedish culture and how they're peculiar sometimes about doing things a specific way. And when it comes to their holidays, it's always this way. And I noticed that at like college parties, they would sing the same songs, do the same things, the same processes every time. When it comes to the Christmas holiday itself, I celebrate the 24th, they open presents, they eat the Christmas food, and then literally everybody in Sweden watches the same Daffy Duck, I think, cartoon after the meal, like at the same time. It's very like structured way of doing things, and I think that's really interesting. So that being said, I hope you guys found some interesting insights in this story. Do you think I was wrong to take the meatballs first? If you think so, let me know in the comment section. I think most Americans might see things my way, but I don't know. My whole goal of the channel is to embrace new cultures, and being in Sweden for so long, I can definitely appreciate a lot of the Swedish traditions. That being said, thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna release more videos about my reflections on this trip that I'm on currently, and then the podcast that we're working on that I've briefly mentioned in previous videos, we're gonna be releasing that soon. That is in Swedish, and a ton more content. I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, so I just have a list in my notes app in my phone of videos that I'm gonna make for you guys. I promise we're gonna be getting more into that in 2020. Fresh start 2020, I'm excited for the new year, and if you wanna join this journey with me and learn more about Swedish culture, American culture, or any other places that I'm traveling to, be sure to click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.